Test, test. You can dim the lights, the house lights. Thank you. Be ready to go in just 1 minute. Well, that was a good move, Joe. You just knocked the speaker down. You did. Oh, I did. There we go. All right. We'll get going in just a moment. Just a couple little business things to take care of. Jerry Hudson had a question. He was wondering if there was an ordinance in De Pere about 18-year-old beer bars. Because he said the beer bars tended to be, he thought, outside of De Pere. Does anybody know the answer to that question? Were there 18-year-old beer bars in De Pere? Club 18 was south of De Pere, so it might not have been in De Pere.
Within the city limits, you're talking.
Todd's saying they're all outside the city limits. So, Jerry, I think you have your answer. They're outside the city limits at that time. Just another little note, just a program that we have coming up. Joe Nix has been doing, you can turn those lights off too. I don't want those lights on me. Thank you. I do better in the dark. We've got a program coming up October 8th, which will be a Sunday at 2 o'clock. Joe Nix has put an awful lot of work into organizing a little program to commemorate the 160th anniversary of the Gettysburg Address. It'll be held at the present Wilson Park, which for those that don't know, it's just a little bit beyond St. Boniface. For those that don't know where St. Boniface was, you'll have to ask somebody. But it'll be at the present Wilson Park. There's going to be some forensic students from West De Pere High School who are going to take part in reading the Gettysburg Address. And the reason for doing it at Wilson Park, there was a James F. Hughes, who's the grandfather of Jim Hughes, who a lot of people know, back in 1916 donated a wonderful plaque that's still in the park. Jim Anderson recently went and cleaned it all up. So if you get a chance to go to Wilson Park and take a look at it, it's just a beautiful plaque. So we're going to have the little dedication there, a reading of the Civil War veterans from De Pere that served and passed away during the Civil War. We will have something regarding that come out both on our Facebook, our website, plus in the newsletter that hopefully will go out by the end of this week. There will also be information there regarding the annual dinner, which will come up, I don't know the date, sometime in October, but that will be announced as well. All right, I think we're ready, Joe. Are you ready?
Okay. Something doesn't fall off the desk again. We got a couple photos given to us. We thought we'd open up with them.
First, just a little tribute photo. Obviously, I think most everybody knows here that Casey Cole passed away very, very recently. We had the funeral was on Monday. We were fortunate to have him with us at the end of June to kick off the 100th birthday celebration for him at that point in time. And one of the photos we got, the next one, yeah, and that was a photo we took the night of the celebration. So it was a fantastic night. Casey had an absolutely wonderful time that evening. A lot of good connections made there. Some photos that were donated, these were from Marge Hutchins. This was a graduating class. I'll give Joe a minute here. It takes him a minute.
Just can't make the
figure it out. It was only 15 minutes ago we had this up.
Well,
Anyway, zoom in on it or something. No, now you lost it. There you go. Thank you. This was a graduating class that I believe her father, and she passed it off and didn't tell me who, but he's in the photo, and this is from, I believe, 1937, the Nicolay High School graduating class. Thank you. Are you here? Yes. Oh, God bless you. Class of 1929. Thank you very much. And is it your father? My mother. Mother, thank you. And if we count across, which one?
7, 8, 7.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The long legs.
The long legs, right there. There we go. That's her mother right there, class of 1929. Zoom back out, Joe, just to show the building. That's the main entrance to what was the Nicolay High Abbott Pennings building. You'll notice that when Pennings took over, that whole thing disappeared up there.
I think they took the girl out of the picture too.
Yes, they did. They took all the girls out. These were brought in also.
Steckert, Mr. Steckert.
Yeah, Bob Steckert brought these in. He had them labeled as 1963. Just scoot ahead to the next one, Joe, and we'll come back to this. Labeled 1963, and then of course I started zooming in on the left over there, where of course in 1963 Broadway Garage should be over there on the left. And I'm looking at the sign, I thought, that says Payless on the sign. We lived right across the street. You can point to our house up there, Joe. No, right across. Bring your hand down, Joe. Or zoom in. There you go. There's our house right there, right in the lower left corner there. We lived right across the street, and it was Payless. No, across the street on the other side. There we go. There's our house. That's our house. We lived across the street. It was Payless, 1967 only. It became Shopko in 1968. Same company, they just switched the name over. So we, of course, dated it. Now go backwards to the original one, so we...
Backwards.
Back one.
All right.
There we go. There we go. We've got a shot. You can see the Claude Alloway Bridge, the intersection of Broadway and George. In the photo, that would be, I think it's Jay's Pharmacy. Yep, there's Jay's Pharmacy up there.
Schumer's.
The Schumer's building here. Gamble's. Was this Kirchhoff back here? Construction company in the back here. You know,
Here.
Yeah. I remember there was a company back there at one time.
No.
The garage and everything. With the commercial hotel, the commercial house is down there.
So this was the big furniture store, in front of it. Keel.
Yes. What was the name of that?
Keel
Furniture
Yeah.
was in there. And then Gamble's took over. Zoom back out on it just because somebody might want to look at another part of that one.
Wrong way here.
There we go. Yeah.
What did you want me to do?
Well, I just want to look at it. You can see the old gas station over there on the right. Pull it down.
There you
And
go.
Dr. Stairs in his new office behind the gas station. You can see that. Royal Cleaners is still in place. A lot of that's changed. And you can see they're putting up the sign, it looks like, for Krieger Paint and Hardware there. That might have been right about the time they moved in, possibly, right? Are you up there, Randy, putting the sign up?
Front row.
Yes.
You show the upper right-hand corner. Can you see the Bunyip House? That would have been behind the Shell gas station.
Right there on the right?
Nope, I think it would have been next. That would be next to it on the right, maybe.
Not that one.
Nope, the next one, maybe?
Right there? The Bunyet or Bonet?
Yep.
Bunyet? Okay.
Either one, that one or right is next.
Okay.
It's hard to see. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. And of course, St. Francis right across the street. You can see the convent. Now you can go to the next one. Play with that a little bit. There we go. The A&P is in place over there. Valley Liquor right next door.
Yep, that's right.
Right? And then to the south of that is the church, Legion Hall. Right? Wasn't that the Legion Hall?
What church was that before it was the Legion Hall?
I'm not sure. And that looks like Earl Sinclair on the corner. And that Steckert building is still there, Joe, right? The white one right on your left? Right there.
Here?
That one's still there.
Yeah. This one is gone.
That one's gone. Yep. Zoom back, just zoom out on it once, just so we can see a little bit more, just in case there's anything else we want to see here. Is that Irwin School up toward the top there? Right. Yeah, there's Irwin School right there.
Here, yeah.
Yeah.
Water tower is not there.
Yeah. Just a fun shot to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a nice shot with Ellen Trudy Salathi and Terry Ann Musin. Terry Ann was in town, which is about 10 years ago. They were both, ironically, in the original Misty Pier contest in 1965. It was a beautiful shot.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the beginning of that.
Okay. We're going to move along into Nicolay, the story of West Pier and how they got from not a very good school building, and they built the first school on, is that college? Wilson Park?
Yeah, yep.
Let's see.
And that was pre-1923, I think you want, right? Oh, up.
1920, where?
Oh, down. One more down, and one over. Right
There it is.
Thank you. Very
This
good.
is the site that McKim was talking earlier.
This is the Wilson Park.
Joe Nix is going to make that program.
Wonderful program there.
Wilson Park. If you look around in the back of the park, you can see remnants of the foundation of the original West Pier High School.
Yep.
That was the one built before.
Yeah, it was built in 1880.
1880. And found this here. We do not have a photograph of this building. Here you have Oak Street.
Give you some context as to where it is. Kind of zoom out a little bit, Joe.
Yeah. The Fox
Right
River
there.
does not run here.
The pink building down there is that's where the Black and Tan was. I don't know. It used to be Johnny's Polish Bar, where it says saloon on there. The buildings on the corner were torn down when they put the underpass. Main Street went underneath the railroad tracks. So the buildings on the corner were torn down. So you would be turning right here. Zoom back out a little bit, Joe. There we go. So you'd be turning right on, they have it labeled as 8th Street on here, which it was at one time. And then you turn left to continue to the fairgrounds. There's that little park there now where the public school is called Lawton Park. That's where a school building was. That's where the kids that would have been in high school and when Nicolay Paper was first built. So we're talking 14, 15, 16-year-olds. When they got done with their shift, they would go to school in that building for night school.
Yeah.
But we have no pictures
We
of
have
that
no
building.
photo of that, so if anybody has one in an attic somewhere.
Yeah, it came down in the late 40s, early 1950s.
This is the Persons Sash and Blind Company. It's on the site where Nicolay Pennings is located now. So they took this down, and then this was also
Another one of their
taken down
school
around that
buildings.
time.
This was Lawton Town School.
Mhm.
Also, that one, go back to that one. That is the site of Lincoln School. Now I believe it's a Montessori school there now.
Mhm.
That was called Lawton Town School because the neighborhood behind it with the tree streets was referred to as Lawton Town. A lot of the workers that worked for the Lawton family lived in that neighborhood. And then, of course, the Lebanese took it over. That's where all the Lebanese moved. Pretty much true, Joel.
See me after class. This is a diploma from 1923, the first graduating class of the new West Pier High School. Ella Verbuch.
Notice, we'll go back to that, Joe, because I noticed that one of the signatures is James Hughes. James on the bottom. Yeah, James Hughes was secretary of the school board.
Mm-hmm. And this was my Aunt Helen's diploma from 8th grade.
1924.
Mm-hmm.
And she would have graduated as an 8th grader. She would have graduated from the Nicolay High building.
Right.
We'll see later on
Mm-hmm.
who all went to that school in the beginning.
This is before they built the building. There's nothing but a vacant lot there. And that church that...
That was the Congregational Church.
Yeah.
And that empty lot that's there, that's where that Persons Sash and door or whatever, sash
Over
place
here.
was.
Oh, here.
No, it was there.
Yeah.
That's where it was, right there. And that came down. And if you zoom out, I think you can make out the site of the present, President Wilson Park, right there, right where your hand is there. That's the Nicolay High School right there. That's Wilson Park, right there. So it's an aerial shot of that.
They named that West De Pere High School.
Yes, that was West De Pere High
And
School.
when they built the new one, that was not West De Pere.
No.
Initially, it was Nicolay.
Nicolay, yeah. And then they seem to have confusion over the next, 25 years, because they've referred to themselves as West De Pere sometimes and Nicolay sometimes.
Mm-hmm. This is the,
Culbertson.
whose house is that?
Culbertson House.
Culbertson, yeah. Beautiful house. It's right where Mary Minahan McCormick Hall took over that lot. They took the house down and they put up a dorm. And this baffles me. I mean, can you imagine the liability? I mean, look at that.
Yeah,
And look at this guy. What is this all about?
standing on the windowsill. Yeah, that is West De Pere High School. That was before the additions that were put on. So that was the original 1880 building. Here's with the additions added on to it, both to the east and
Wings
to the
on the
west.
side, and I believe there was a section in the back that was added on.
By the way, for this particular building, the foundation is still there for the building.
Yeah.
In fact, the whole building is probably in that hole, in all likelihood.
Wow. This is one of the few pictures we have of people on the outside of the building. There's my Uncle Russell and my Uncle James. And I think Uncle James was making barnyard imitations, was irritated this woman. I mean, look at that. She's looking out of the corner of her eyes, and he's saying, "Gotcha." And this is on the front steps again.
They did dress up quite nice for school. And that wasn't just picture day. I'm sure they dress that way every day.
And we're back.
By the way, with that photo right there, can you go back to that one? It would be on the,
Where are we?
right there, just the original one that you put up.
This one?
No, well, that front stairs that are there right in the center,
Mhm.
if you were to go right straight across to the street from that spot, that's where that Gettysburg Address plaque is.
Oh.
It was centered on the building. So now go to the present site of Wilson Park. The one at the beginning of the show. Back up.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. So it's over there on the, it's further left. It's going to be further to the left over in that area. You didn't quite catch it in that picture, but that's where the plaque is.
Is that it here?
No, it's out toward the street.
Mm.
Very prominent, especially since it's been cleaned up. It really looks sharp.
Okay. And next we're going to take a look at the study about the Nicolay High, the pre.
Yeah. In 1922, get out of that one.
Yeah, wait a minute here.
I know it's all there. The pre one. Well, we hope it's there.
Is it?
There we go. Not that particular one, though. There we go. In 1922, this is actually an article from February 23rd, 1922. They actually had bids opened for the brand new building. And it indicated that Fuller, Schober, and Stevenson of Green Bay, which is a business still in existence, I did reach out to them a couple weeks ago and asked if we could actually get copies of the blueprints. They still have them. St. Norbert College had to give them permission to sign them over, to send them over to us. So we will receive those. The college has no problem with it. The building's coming down. So we will eventually get the original blueprints for the building. It had steam heat system, and if you scroll down to the bottom, not too much in this one, But the building was a proposed $100,000 new high school building. So that was the original cost. It did actually run all the way up to $140,000 when all was said and done. That's the building that's there right now. I kind of calculated it. It came out to like, I'm going to say about 2.2 or $2.3 million in today's money. Pretty good deal. This was regarding the dedication that they were going to have. This was going to be the program. The dedication, they actually opened the school up in the spring of 1923, so it actually opened up a lot earlier than they had anticipated. The date that's on the front is 1922, but it actually wasn't completed and opened until 1923. The students took over. The first graduating class was the class of 23, and this indicates the things that were going. And again, reference to James Hughes here. If you zoom in, pull it up, right there. James Hughes presided over the whole thing. He was in charge of the dedication ceremony that went on. And this is the first graduating class from Nicolay High, and maybe you can just kind of scroll through and see some of the names there. It was the largest graduating class in the history of West De Pere High School. 36 students. Kind of zoom down. There we are. There's the list of the graduates there. And you just kind of zoom in on them, see if we recognize some of the West De Pere names there. Ruth and Orville Bakken, a Beauregard, Carlson, a Collette,
Max France?
Max France, who pretty much was responsible for the starting of the De Pere Historical Society. Zoom back in there a little bit. Reblitz, another prominent name. Jocelyn, Johnson, a Shearing. There was a school, one of the early schools was a building out on near Shearing Road, at the end of Shearing Road, just off the river. A Turf, a couple Turfs in there, a Secor, Earl Secor, Van Sistine, a couple Van Sistines. 36 students.
Am I Intruding will be presented in the senior class play.
This was interesting because you got to really pay attention to this. This was actually De Pere High School coming over to use the new auditorium. There was actually cooperation in spite of all the animosity that occurred. So this was the senior class play of De Pere High School. As I tell people, there's West De Pere High School, and if it doesn't have the West in front, it's the De Pere High School, which is the East Side School. So they came over and actually used it for a couple of years until they got use of the same building. De Pere High School reciprocated later on in the mid-1950s when schools refused to play Nicolay High School in their Cracker Box gym. So what ended up happening is they ended up using De Pere High School for their West De Pere or Nicolay High games. So if they were in the same conference at that point, and when De Pere would be on the road, West De Pere would be at De Pere High School. So there was actually some very nice cooperation there. And this was the actual program that they had. Kind of goes into the detail as far as the orchestra selections.
What was the Beaver Dam Orchestra doing at our dedication?
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I'm not quite sure why they were there. And they played a little bit, too. Because I thought West De Pere, Nicolay, well, West De Pere had a very good band. Was Prof. Enna there by 1923?
He did not arrive until 1925.
That explains why the Beaver Dam Orchestra was there. The success came after he arrived. And this was just an ad. It was a 2-page ad that listed all the different vendors that helped build the building. Beauregard, McEachran Lumber, the lumber that used in the construction of the new Nicolay High building was put in place by them. De Pere Light and Power, all the lighting fixtures were from them. Art Mosaic did the terrazzo floors and steps, which are still, terrazzo, if you're going to build with terrazzo. A little expensive, but it'll last 100 years. And you can see this on a split page, but that's the old West De Pere High School, and up above the new Nicolay High School before any shrubs or anything were placed there. This is the other side. The face brick. People are saying, are they going to give the bricks away? I don't think so. I mean, Todd Danon might be out there taking bricks off and passing them out, but I kind of doubt it. But the face brick, that brown brick, was from Gagno, the burnt clay building material, which is what it is. But then the common brick, if you go up to the top there, Joe, pull that down. All the common brick in the building was given by hawkers. They're trying to keep everybody happy in De Pere. You get some De Pere stuff there. The concrete came through A.G. Wells. George Reiki did the heat and stuff, the electric and stuff like that came in. Green Bay Planing. There we go. And this was the makeup of the class in September of 1924 of the building. All right? There was 112 high school students in the building. 7th and 8th graders, 44 students. 4th and part of the 5th, numbered 38. The other part of the 5th were over in the Lawton Town School. They must have drew straws on that. And then you also had 2nd and 3rd graders, there was 36 of them. And then the 1st graders, there was 28 of them. So those first few years, it was not just used as a high school, it was also used for the grade schools as well. And then you can see the parochial schools there. I feel like the St. Francis number is off. 110, St. Mary's 312. That just, I think they're wrong front digit there. St. Joe's 175, St. Boniface 295. So quite a few parochial students there. And this was in 1925 when they were looking to dispose of the building. The school district proposed to the city that the city would buy it from them for $6,500. This article goes into detail as to the city's response as to why they thought it was a ridiculous amount of money. I believe they ended up selling it for $5,000 under the condition that the school district tear down the old building. And they did. They tore it down, and quite literally, it is in the ground underneath there. So at some point, we'd like the city to work with the Historical Society to do a little dig, just create a little bit of a hole and maybe see what's down underneath there. But the foundation, if you go to the far east end of the building, of the Wilson Park, and you kick up the dirt, the foundation's right underneath there. And that was the end of the Nicolay High building, 1880 to 1922.
So you think Todd Dana would sell some of the bricks for that thing?
Todd's real quiet down there. Shake. Doesn't know anything about the brick.
So what is this all about?
That was the cost of the
heat.
Oh, that's the beginning.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And now we move on to the new.
St. Norbert, huh?
Yeah, either the St. Norbert or the sure.
Okay.
A little bit of background on the St. Norbert High School.
Yeah. Picnic. I think this is out at the fairgrounds.
Full screen on there.
Here it is.
There you go.
This is Boyle Hall. It was built by the Boyle family of Fond du Lac, and around 1910, I think, something like
Yep.
that.
Right around 1910.
And it was, this was, later became the library, but that was pretty much where St. Norbert High School boys hung out. They had the upper floor here. And this is interesting.
I believe this is from Main Hall, that shot.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because they had dorms up there.
Every boy had his own sink. Go figure. This is St. Norbert High School football team. And there's the coach, Fred Dillon.
Fred Dillon, as a high school athlete, kind of hopped back and forth between De Pere High School and St. Norbert High School.
Yeah.
And then ended up coaching St. Norbert High School for 25 years. This is the high school basketball team. And you can see there's a couple of De Pere names in there. Hippus, Smithwick, James Jansen, Lade, and Norb Schumerth, in addition to Fred Dillon. That must have been one of the years he was at St. Norbert.
Yeah. This is, Tom Vandelis told me that, and there's Tom, passed away a year and a half ago.
Number 24.
Number 24. He said he remembered when the team had their Christmas vacation, and Fred Dillon came back from a trip, and
To Chicago.
and he had this young man in tow. This is Joe Mack, who I think Tom Vandelis was about 5'11", and Joe Mack would have to have been around 6'7". And Fred just snatched him up from some Catholic high school in Chicago. Said, "You're going to come up to St. Norbert.
We're going to board you."
Streets are paved with gold, and he was very much a part of that team that won the state championship in 1957.
Yep, 57.
And it was when Dylan was dying, and listening to the game on the radio, and the team got together and awarded him the state championship trophy. They beat Pius, right?
Yes,
High
Milwaukee
School,
Pius.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think Gary Simons had a big part of that.
Yeah, oh, he was incredible. It was a great team. It's a great shot of the clean-cut boys of St. Norbert. They're sitting around having a beer. And they had the 25th anniversary. They recreated the shot. And this guy never faced the camera once in 25 years. It's an invitation to the junior prom at St. Norbert High School. No stags. How did they arrive at the price?
$240 per couple.
So
Back
that's
to the beginning. You have another Saint West De Pere.
We're gonna look at Nicolay after 1923 when
Yep.
they moved into their new school. Does that sound right?
Yep. You just got to find it now.
Yeah. Here it is.
There you go.
These shots of the entrances to the school. This is a great class of 1934. Anybody who is anybody in West De Pere was a class of 64.
34.
34. Yeah. Well, that 64 was actually even a better year.
That's why I wanted to correct you.
But look at some of the names here. You've got a Muscella.
Paul Muscella.
Stan Vincent of the theater. Person. George Ferris, whose family operated the Ferris Wheel restaurant, and married Alita.
Art Camper.
Art Camper, who was a distant cousin. And Margaret Laurent, who married Bob Danon.
Jane St. George, they had the clothing store, men's clothing store on the east side.
And he was the plumbing guy, right?
No, that was Riki, not Thiki.
Oh.
That's right. Blanche Savageau.
Eunice LeCare.
Eunice LeCare.
She married Wilmette, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Steve Wilmette's mother, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Jane St. George of the St. George Clothing Company. It's a good bunch. It's a good bunch. This is the football team from 1929.
Wonderful uniforms.
What's with the design? I mean, is some of
I
them...
like that. If the WIAA would allow it, I think West De Pere should do a throwback uniform.
And here they are again.
Yeah.
1930, they kept the same uniforms. This is the north entrance of the school.
This would be the kids that would come from the other side of Main Street.
Yeah.
or if they had boarders from the east side.
This is the most unusual hat photo of 1930.
30.
Somebody made a bundle. I mean, look at that. They're all wearing the same style of hat, except for this guy. This the main entrance?
Yeah, that's the main entrance, and this would be after Pennings took over, and you can see that they took every reference of Nicolay High off the building. There's the Nicolay High, same main entrance.
Professor Enna, Mrs. Vincent. That's a good bunch. This
Yeah,
is
they
a
were
group.
national championship bands. Was it 4 years?
Yeah. This is the first year they won it, 1930. Which is not bad for a school that had only been in existence for 5 years.
Yeah, that's right.
National championship. They didn't even have a band until they got this guy in,
Yeah, they had the Beaver Dam Band.
who was not an instrumental musician. He was an opera singer from Copenhagen. And he never touched a band instrument, did not know how to put one together, didn't know how to play it, but they gave him the job, and he did wonders. And this is the choir.
Graduating. Oh yeah,
And we're back
to the beginning.
Okay. Next we have Abbott Pennings on their opening run. They had purchased the building in 1958 or 59. One of the first pictures of the student body of St. Norbert High School. There they are. There's Abbott Pennings.
All three of them.
And all three of them. Didn't have much of a basketball team.
No.
There's Abbott
There's
Pennings.
the Abbott. There's just some inside hallway shots, fairly common, but a beautiful terrazzo floor. One of the things, there we go, that's what they did with it. One of the things with the building, some people question, why they would have to tear it down. Having never been in there till about a year ago, I found out rather quickly why. You walk in and you hit a little platform, and you're either going half a floor down or a half a floor up. There's no level way to get from one floor to the next. And then in the middle of the building, you have the gymnasium topped by the auditorium. The auditorium is right over the top of the gymnasium.
You know,
This
when
was
I
after.
at Pennings, that we didn't even know that there was a stage in the gymnasium. It was bricked up, and they used it for storing basketballs.
Equipment,
or something.
yeah.
Cafeteria.
Yes.
That was in the same place.
And then the far left over there, they got the sacristy and the chapel, which of course, this was the transition of the building from Nicolay High to Abbott Pennings.
Mm-hmm. The auditorium, which they boasted held 800 people.
Yeah.
And we couldn't figure out how they fit 800
Yeah.
people.
Well, that was just 800 on the ground level, and then they said they could put 200 more up in the balcony. So they said the capacity of the building, the auditorium, was 1,000. The article that I read said there were 400 seats that you're sitting in right now, and then they said they brought in 400 folding chairs to put up behind. Well, there's no room to put 400 chairs behind.
This is what the auditorium looks like these days.
You can see the balcony on the right, which is, they put up some walls in there. I think, what'd that become, Todd? Was that like a office area up there or a passage through?
Up here?
In the auditorium on the sides.
Yeah, well, on the right side was the teacher's lounge.
Oh, really?
Yep, and then on the left side was a passageway to the back classroom.
Okay. So the left side balcony was passageway, Over on the right side, the balcony became the teacher's lounge.
Left side became the computer lab too.
Oh, the left side was the computer lab also? Okay. So it's computer lab plus a passageway to that back classroom. This is the gymnasium, the little cracker box that it was. We will have some shots in a little bit when Nicolay played in there. When Pennings went in, I believe there were some freshman games that were probably played there, but other than that, the JV and the varsity would have played over at Van Dyke Gym. Those three openings back there where the wood is there, they actually opened up to, was it kind of a chorus room or something back there?
No.
Or classroom?
That wasn't the band room, that was above. This is where they had the flag come out and somebody played taps or something during a basketball game, and it was not used for much of anything.
They did open up though.
Yeah. This is the church to the east of Abbott Pennings.
Yes.
They used this for the music room, and they could not. They had no room for the chorus and the band, so they bought this building and used it for
And
music.
did that church, that was the Congregational Church, is that the one that moved over to by Kelly Dana Ballpark, Ryan Funeral Home? Was that Congregational? Okay, so and that just recently closed, right? Yep, so that was the Congregational Church. They moved over by Ryan Funeral Home into that building there. There's a letter. And Joe actually got an academic award. He didn't want to share it, but I thought he should. To let people know that he had the ability.
I wanted to put all the awards.
And back to the beginning of that one.
We're back.
Kim, do you want to recognize those people in that photo?
Yes.
Okay.
Hang on, go back to that.
Where is it?
Not the tour, was that? No, top one. Abbott Pennings, 1959. Because we should.
Here it is.
Top left.
Rutherford McDonald, he taught commerce or business. This picture was taken in October. The college will be 125 years old on October 10th. That's the day Francis Van Dyke showed up in Pennings, started teaching him Latin. Francis Van Dyke's the tall kid on the right.
On the right,
Yep.
Francis Van Dyke.
That would have been John Van Dyke's great uncle.
Okay.
Of the clothing store.
Yep.
And on our left, that's Anthony Vissers, another.
The young shorter guy, Anthony Vissers.
Anthony Vissers, he was a priest down at St. Joseph Parish out in Oneida for,
A priest at Oneida, St. Joseph's Parish after.
the Pure Kids.
Oh, okay.
And then that's a young Father Pennings in the back. That picture
Yep.
was probably taken at some point in October of 1898.
1898, October of 1898. The initial student was Francis Van Dyke,
Here's the first.
started teaching him Latin,
2 weeks later, Vissers joined him.
and 2 weeks later, Vissers joined him.
Yeah, that's Van Dyke Gym is named after.
Right, after him.
Okay.
Very nice. Thank you, Todd.
Well, that'll be $25 later.
I expected that, I've got it with me.
We'll sell a few bricks. Here you go. This is a walk through Pennings. We took these pictures a few weeks ago. And if anybody knows what the classrooms were, I think this was biology.
It says Father Kempen, biology.
Yep. This was the principal's office. This is leading to the open space above the main entrance. They boxed it off and
Yeah.
I don't know what they used that room for, but the principal's desk was over here
On the right.
and these steps went up to whatever they used it for.
That might have been detention, maybe.
That's financial aid office.
What was it?
Financial aid office.
Financial aid office. Okay, thank you. Well, that's me.
His first look he wanted to see was the principal's office because he spent a lot of time there.
And The hallway shot, beautiful terrazzo floors.
This is the second floor because this goes up to the auditorium, right?
Yeah, up to the auditorium and then down to the first floor.
Gym, or the whatever.
Up, downs.
This is the
Back
one
to
we
the
just
shot of the
saw,
gym.
And that we just saw.
Yep.
This is
Oh.
unusual to see him in a chapel. That's,
Yes, yes. I was concerned, but yeah, that was the chapel. Chemistry lab,
Mm-hmm.
another gym shot. This is that pass-through, right?
Yeah, the auditorium.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they closed it off.
there's a classroom on the other end down there, just one sole little classroom.
Yeah, that was the band room down there
Okay.
on the other end. And this is biology. This is the faculty lounge, was it?
Yep.
And the principal's office
Principal's
again.
office again.
And that was that.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
this is something that was given to Pennings by the Premontre student body because they didn't have running water, so they had no use for it over there.
Got to get into Promontory dig when you can.
I think we've seen all of these. Okey-doke.
And you have there's some gym shots too that we have.
The what?
The gym shot, there's another set of Westy Pier shots somewhere.
Is there?
Yeah, I don't know where, but not there.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'll take some shots of West Pier. Very conscious of the arts at West Pier. They had a good music program. They had drama programs. They encouraged kids at younger ages to get involved with pageants and all that. This is a shot from 1913 of a West Pier class play. And I cannot imagine what the costumes are all about.
Well, look at the bottom left, the second guy from the left there. You know where that came from, Joe?
Yeah, I know. One of these guys from Premontre. This is someone from the east side of De Pere.
Yes,
Primarily Dutch population.
little Dutch.
And this guy was either half asleep or half awake. I don't think they would do that these days.
No.
This is a great shot of the trial of Jack and Jill, and presided over by Old King Cole up there, who I think was Walt Cloud. I'm not sure.
No, Walt went to De Pere.
Well, maybe try it out. These are the Fiddlers 3 from King Cole, and the reason I have a star right there is that that's Al Sarugi, who played the violin and said he would stick it out until he had to go in public wearing tights, and he quit the very next day. This is my Uncle Joe playing Friday in the Robinson Crusoe part of this tale.
Zoom out a little bit. There you go.
Okay.
You can see a little better.
But they worked hard at it. They built their own sets and
Yeah.
came to a lot of extra rehearsals.
Oh, on that picture, Joe, just pull it down once, because way up on the top, you can see that Nicolay, there we go. It's NHS. And if we find those gym shots, or the auditorium shots today, you'll see that the St. Norbert, when they took it over, they defaced all of those. And ironically, they could have left it, as a Norbert High School instead of taking it out of there.
Mm-hmm. This is Professor Enna, who established the practice of delegation. Never taught a lesson to any of his kids, but he hired the best musicians around. They paid 50 cents apiece, the kids did. Tony Vandenberg, Charlie Van Caster, who actually played in the Sousa band, and Ernie Stiller, who operated Stiller Photography, was a great brass player. And that's how we built this program. This is called the Toy Band. Professor Enna had it to feed his band into the high school. And you recognize some names here. There's Loretta Christian, who married Don Barber. She had a wonderful voice. And the most talented member of the entire band, of course, was this guy.
Dick Ceruggi.
Robert LeCaire was a professional trombone player in Las Vegas. He was part of the Cy Centner band. Betty Dunn went to Lawrence University and got a master's degree in choral conducting. Came back to her own high school and her grade school and directed the choir for years. Betty Dunn. And this is first time the band from West De Pere appeared in public, 1926. They won the state championship that year. 3 years after they opened the doors, they're winning championships. There's Mrs. Leo Dillon, one of the LeCaire sisters, professor. It's a good band. John Philip Sousa. His band was touring Green Bay, and there they are. And Sousa invited Professor Enna to guest conduct a number at the concert. And he did. And Enna invited Sousa to come and guest conduct at West De Pere. And he did. Ken Peterson says that he played the glockenspiel, and he says the same glockenspiel that Sousa played when he did the Stars and Stripes Forever at West De Pere High. Most important instrument in the band is the double bell euphonium you see there. And they had, I hear that, and they had two of them actually. And Sousa had two women. One of them played a violin, and I don't know what she did, but I think she might have played the harp. And there's Sousa, taken the day that he visited West De Pere High. Professor Enna died in 1946 and had a habit of breaking the law of copyrights. Here you see the cast of the opera, The Bohemian Girl, and he put on all sorts of Gilbert and Sullivan and Belfay and other great composers of the era, and he would buy the sheet music and copy the scenery, but he never paid royalties for any of the plays that he did. He was a risky type of guy.
Jeannie Guerin behind him?
I beg your pardon?
Is that Jeannie Guerin behind him? Right there?
Here?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
like
so. She
Jeannie
had the
Guerin.
leads. If it wasn't Jeannie Guerin, it was Loretta Christian Barber who had the leads in
I'm
all
pretty
these
sure that's
plays.
Jeannie
They were
Williams. Jeannie
great
Guerin.
singers. The oboe player is my cousin Maurice.
Ah.
And this is the patron of the arts continues at West De Pere. Their dance team 2 years ago were the state champs. West De Pere. This is another one that he didn't pay for. This is the Pirates of Penzance by Gilbert and Sullivan. Nice touch. And back to the beginning.
There's still got to be one more with the other shots. Maybe that's in.
What's that?
There's one more with the St. Norbert with the basketball shots in it, just so people could see the gym, not the future.
here.
Yeah, maybe.
Here we go.
Ah, there we go. There we go. Oh, and there's those windows that opened up. Remember we talked about that? And they're holding the flag out there. That would be on the east end of the gym. And this gives you an idea of the crowd. They get the balcony up above and then seating underneath. On the balcony there was 3 rows. They had 2 concrete rows and then a row of folding chairs up on top. And then underneath, I believe it was 5 rows that went up to the radiators. God forbid that you sat next to the radiator. Steam heat. You must have.
These exercises were designed by the Marquis de Sade. There's Loretta Christian. This is the junior prom, 1953, over the rainbow.
Oh yeah, there's the Nicolay High building there.
Mm-hmm.
Van Dyke Gym.
Saw this one.
The gym, yeah.
Yeah, let me see, yeah.
There's some, there we go. Now
This
some
is a
extra
good
shots. This is where the stage that Joe didn't think existed, but you can see how close that was to the playing court there. They have a
Out of
pad.
bounds, you had a foot and a half
Yeah.
race. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
And then the next line in, you can barely make it out, but you see the line right in front of number 29 there, that black line, right there.
Here.
That line right there, that would be what they, is a restraining line. So the players, there was not enough room for them to be out of bounds to throw it in. So they were able to step out onto the court. The defense had to stay behind that line. So they're actually on the court when they would inbound it. Another shot there. And you can see how many rows there were there. You can count them, but I believe there's 5 rows there. And you can see the radiators behind. So that, yeah, that must have got quite hot. This, I believe,
Is that Buck Lindsay?
I believe it's Buck Lindsley. Anybody venture a guess on that? But again, you can see the shot was to show Buck, but then also show the bench there, the seating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rows.
He was a great player. He went on to the University of Minnesota.
Yep.
Where he was
Very successful.
very successful, yeah.
Might be one of the best players ever to play.
Is this
Actually, that's Buck. So the other guy wasn't Buck. This is Buck Lindsley, and they're playing De Pere High School. And this might be the first game that they played against each other. They had gone for a period of about 30 years where they were not competing against each other at all.
Why?
They had a fire in the late 19 teens, like 1918, 1919. There was a ball game that got suspended due to the fighting on the field. So the referee suspended the game. I don't know if it was the East Siders or West Siders started a fire in the middle of the bridge. The city fathers decided that they're not meant to play against each other. So they weren't able to compete at all. Jim Martin came along in the late 1940s and started up Legion Ball. When he proposed it to the city officials, they said, "Oh, that's a great idea, Jim. We'll have an East Side team and a West Side team." And Jim said, "No, we're just going to have a De Pere Legion team." Well, they'll never play together. Well, they ended up going to state numerous times, won a couple state titles, and then shortly after that, that's when they started to play ball against each other. And it was a basketball game at Van Dyke Gym because Nicolay High couldn't accommodate the crowd, neither could De Pere High School accommodate the crowd. So they had a sellout. People got there at about 4:30 in the afternoon for a game that started at 6:30, packed house, and West De Pere was loaded. De Pere actually was loaded also. They had some good ball players, but West De Pere annihilated De Pere both times they played. Roger DeWiskey was on that team, yep, so was Tom Boyd. No, that was not. It looks like him, but it's not. I'll think of the guy's name, but it wasn't Roger. I know it looks like him, but it's not. Give me time. I'll come up with it. This is the auditorium. This is where you're able to count. I was able to count the number of seats. There is 400 seats. And I challenge you to tell me how you're going to get 400 seats between that back row and the radiators behind it of folding chairs. And then they could seat 200 people, which I don't doubt, up in the balcony up there. Yeah. This is the last class to graduate. from Nicolay High School, 1959. And there's the graduates.
This is when Brown County, they had their day visiting the University of Wisconsin, and Professor Anna talked the powers that be into inviting his band to serenade everybody. I don't think there were any kids at this thing.
Yeah, a lot of adults.
Oh,
yeah.
there's one. And, those hats again, I can't.
I'd say this was 1930.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they were doing out on the lawn, getting ready for the bus to take them to this.
Mhm. The entrance. I don't know where this was taken.
Not to Pere.
I think it was on one of their trips to compete in the national
Yeah, I
championships.
think you're right.
Well, that takes care of that.
Now you can do that little video clip,
Oh, of
the walkthrough,
oh yeah,
if you can find it.
I can find it.
Well, oh, you did. Good for you. Just kind of going through. This would have been the main entrance for virtually all the students that went through. He's a Pennings guy, so I let him in first. There's the up, and on the other side was the down. So there's a ticket booth right across from the gymnasium. Signatures up on the ceiling. That's where the stage would have been. There's the balcony. The side we're filming from was actually locker rooms at one time. There you can see they used that for lockers when Pennings was in there. Here is the locker room. And this to me is the most pristine part of the building, was the shower room inside of there. It was actually in gorgeous shape. There's the old auditorium. This is that classroom at the back of the auditorium.
Band room.
Band room. Chapel. Principal's office. There's those stairs. The boiler room. Was the guy's name Binion? Was he the janitor?
Neil.
That's it, thank you.
Neil Binen.
That's the north entrance.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the entrance to the auditorium.
Yes.
And who do we have to thank for doing that for us?
My nephew Pete Cerrugi.
Yes, very nice of him to do that. Nice little shot.
Did a good job.
And I'm assuming sometime before the end of this year that building will be down, right, Todd?
Right.
Correct. Very good. One last little shot. All right, now we're moving on to the Misty Pier contest.
Oh yeah. Where did I put that?
did a little bit of research on this. Turns out there wasn't actually a sidewalk stale day queen, sidewalk carnival queen that they used to have right up till 1964. In 1965, the De Pere Chamber of Commerce took it over and decided they would have a Miss De Pere contest. And I point out that it was a contest, not a pageant. It was girls 14 through 17, which meant it could not feed into the Miss Wisconsin pageant. It was going to be July 15th through the 17th. They were going to announce who the winner was. They were going to have a parade with all the girls that entered. And this is just another article in the De Pere Journal. They were seeking people. The ceremonies were going to be held Thursday night, July 15th, at the Abbott Pennings High School grounds, right out in front. They had the Whirl Away Square Dance Club was also going to be performing behind the West De Pere Bank, the Bank of West De Pere, and the fireworks on Friday night. Here were the 26 contestants of the first Miss De Pere contest held in 1965. Talking to a few of them, there were a few girls that did not want to be in this. But they had to get a business sponsor. Ooh, there we go. You can pull it down a little just to see the top. Nope, the other way. There you go. There we go. Mavis Kay, Jane Lambert, Pam Krieger, Nancy Lee or Lay, Evelyn Aldrich, Ruth Roofers.
Where is that?
There we go. Jeannie Cornelison, Linda McCabe, Terry Olson, Mary Vandehei, Joan Vandehei, Jean Fasanella, Diana Matsky, Mary McInnes, Linda Lazay, Joanne Kay, Susan Champeau, Terry Mewson, Miriam Brazina, Chris Arts, Betty Albers, Judy Mewson, Trudy Salathi, Carol Van Straten, and Lois Kwasny. So 26 entrants the first year they had the Miss De Pere contest. And that's the list of them. If one photo was missing, it was for Barbara Hutchins. They did not have her photo. They had a parade prior to it where they sat in the back of convertibles and were paraded through De Pere. 9 p.m., the winner of the Miss De Pere contest in her court of honor was crowned in ceremonies on the front lawn of the Abbott Pennings High School on the west side. They had the crown listed here. This is Don Hanaway with the crown. The question was brought up actually by one of the winners. We're wondering where the crown was. So when we get to the last winner in 1970, we'll probably put the question out as to where she has the crown, because she probably still has it, I would assume. We'll get to that. Don Hanaway in there, by the way. And here is Secretary of State Zimmerman announcing the winners of the competition. The first winner was Trudy Salathi, who's actually sitting right down here in front of us here. She watches Secretary of State Robert Zimmerman. Isn't that wonderful? Her attendants at present, right near her there, were Terry Olson, Terry Mewson, Pam Krieger, and Jeannie Cornelison. Trudy, were you a senior that year or a junior? Junior in high school. Go back one more picture there. And then I know Terry Mewson was a sophomore at the time. You can go ahead. And one of the things was that they had responsibilities. They had things with the different service clubs. They would come out during the course of the year of their reign. Both Trudy and her court would come. This happens to be a ribbon cutting for the reopening of George Street in 1965, which I don't remember being there, but I remember George Street being redone. But you can see Trudy cutting the ribbon, and behind her, I know I can see Pam Krieger on the right, Terry Mewson on the left of Trudy, and Terry Mewson there. Got that? That looks like a Vincent on the far right, the gentleman in the back right there holding the ribbon. That looks, not there, next one over, right there. That looks like Mr. Vincent from the theater. If you zoom out, Joe, I believe that the building behind him was the teen coffee shop if you zoom out. You can see there's kids up on the porch here. Would that be about right, 1965? Yep, that was the coffee shop that they put in for the place for the teens to hang out. And these are the contestants from the '66 contest, the number shrunk down a little bit, but we can kind of go through them real quick. Let everybody see them. Lynn Noyen, DeRuyter, Pam Qualley, Gloria Gerke, Boylson. A few people that were in it the previous year. Nancy Lay, Ellen, Beaupre, slide over a little bit again. Mary Reedy, Mavis Kay, she was in the prior year. Judy Haskins, Pat Kay, siblings, and then the top row.
And the winner was sponsored by who?
Oh, yeah, Suji's Holiday House. So let's see the top people in that top row, Joe, real quick. Go back quick, just so we can see just the top row people. I didn't get a chance to see all that. Yeah. Terry Anderson, and then who's the far right? Mickey Miner and Sue Wayhausen. Okay, Max France Meat Market. All right, and the next one would be no, you gotta go ahead, Joe. No, you went too far ahead, Joe. Go back to just scrolling. Go backwards.
Jeez.
You got ahead of yourself. Go back, pull it down.
This one?
No, pull down, pull the whole thing down. You got, or go up to the top. You went too far on me there.
We used to teach driver's ed, you know.
Come here. Go right here, Joe, right on your bottom one there. And okay. Go up. No, down this way, Joe. Right there on the bottom of your scroll right there.
Here?
There, yes, thank you. And I'll just use your arrow to advance. This was the winner of the 1966 competition. Pam Qualley, 17-year-old senior from East Pier High School, was crowned by Miss Trudy Salati, right behind her on her left. Retiring queen at the ceremonies. Looking on from left to right are her attendants, Mary Reedy, Ginny Mako, and Nancy Lay. Gloria Gerke, another attendant, is not pictured. Now we can go ahead. This was kind of interesting. Her senior year in high school in 1967, this is just a little delay here, but Terry Ann Mewson actually ran for the Miss Green Bay competition and won. So she was Miss Green Bay in 1967 and represented Green Bay at the Miss Wisconsin pageant, where she was second runner-up that particular year, something I didn't know until I started researching. These are the 1967 contestants. You just zoom in and let everybody see who was there. Again, 14 to 17-year-olds. And Sandy Moravitz, Saruji's, that was your sponsored person. Mary Vandehei, Marshall Wilmette, Candy Hill, Bobby Zingler, Mary Liberta, Pat Lish, Sandy Liebergen, Judy Mewson, that's Terry's sister, Linda Gertz, Ann Liebergen, Peggy Brennan, Bev Vandenhogen, Sharon Ryan, Bob Ryan's daughter, Laura Belange, Mary Jo Wagner, and Pat Deacon. And then just go to the next one. I think we just go right to winners. There we go. And you zoom in and we can see who the winners are there. Slide over and up a little. There we go. Miss Karen Johnson was chosen as the winner this particular year. Miss Pam Qualley crowned her. If you slide over, we can see who the others are. The attendants were Judy Mewson, Beverly Vandenhogen, Sharon Ryan. The other runner-up is not shown in the picture, Laura Belange. And here's a little parade that they would have done the next day in all likelihood, where the winners were all there. This is a list of the 1968. You can see the numbers are going down. We got Pat Hockers, Pat Deacon, Sue Bashy, Sue Robertson, Carol Schmidt, Sandy Johnson. Whoop, you did it again, Joe. Make that go full screen. No, there we go. Darrell View, Beverly Vandenhogen. Whoop.
Oh, what the heck?
I don't know what you're doing.
Mixed
Woof.
with us. No?
No? Right about, yeah, just go over there and we'll just move forward. Click on that one, just to the left, right? No, not that one, up from the scroll.
This one.
Anyone, then we'll go forward. Make it go full screen. One more.
One more.
There you go. Now just go full screen with that up in the upper right corner there. There you go. Yeah, Beverly Vandenhogen and Debbie Parmentier was the Saruji's Holiday House contestant. Move to the next one. We'll see who won this particular year. In this particular year, the 1968, Miss Beverly Vandenhogen was crowned as Miss De Pere. See that there. You've got Al Johnson, Al Van Hoovel is the Master of Ceremonies, Robert McMonigal, Chamber of Commerce President Wachan. The honors people are seated. Sue Robertson, Patricia Baton, Sue Bashy, and Sandy Johnson. Next one. Here we go. Well, now we're up to 1968. Sue Bashy entered again. Marcia Menard, Claire Melcher, Barbara Gerke, Mary Claire Cranky, married to Tarinas, Donna Quinnett, Sue Morrow, Beverly Patterson, Chris Katowski, Patty Kosick, and Patrice Morovitz. And we'll see who the winner was on that one in a moment. Go to the next one. And here you can get an idea of how the competition went. They were asked questions. They got up, the contest was answering these questions. And it was the way they answered and their poise and whatnot that allowed them to determine who the winner was. And they would have crowds of 5, 6, 7, 800 people there for the competition. The new Miss De Pere this particular year was Claire Melcher. You see her, she lived on Michigan Street, I do remember that. And then the court, I've got to look that up real quick, I have that here, because it doesn't say who her court was, but I want to make sure we mention who the court was. 1 second, sorry about that. It's coming. There we go. Her court consisted of Susan Bashy, Barbara Gerke, Patrice Morovitz, and Susan Morrow. Move ahead. Sue Bashy, the next year, 1970, became Miss Green Bay after her being in the Miss De Pere contest a couple years, and ended up being a runner-up for the Miss America for the Miss Wisconsin pageant. We're just about there. This is the last year, 1970. You got Kathy Cavell, Kathy Tarkowski, Denise Schrader, Lori DeClean, Mary Jo Lambert, Jane Danon, Sherry Eisch, far left, Jolene Olmstead, Sharon McVeigh, Debbie Yonke, Sue Stasic, Mary Kronowski, Molly Kane, Paula Krieger, and Kathy Rose. And the winner, I think we saw it before, but we'll see it again. There we are. Miss Paula Krieger, daughter of Mrs. Milton Krieger, was crowned the new Miss De Pere. Miss Claire Melcher is doing the crowning. The runners-up include Mary Kronowski first, Lori DeClean second, Mary Jo Lambert, and Jane Danon tied for third place.
Kim, can you go back to the last group of girls?
Yep.
Kathy Rose?
Kathy Rose.
Bottom corner.
Oh, bottom right. Yeah, bottom right.
That's my husband's sister. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Did you know she was in the Miss De Pere contest? No. Kind of cool to learn those things. And then here, this is just an article talking about Sidewalk Carnival Days. The last paragraph is the key. This is in 1971. It was voted recently to drop the Miss De Pere contest because of lack of interest. So unfortunately, the Miss De Pere contest ended. However, it did come back in 1975, I think because of a winter in between. It did come back. They did start the Miss De Pere pageant, which then did feed into the Miss Wisconsin pageant. We're not going to go there. All right? And that's the end of that one, the Miss De Pere contest. Now we move ahead to the next one, which I believe is the Bev and Joe.
Yeah.
Do that one real quickly. Next one, we'll just do a little bit of a tribute feat to Bev and Joe Musin. This is a little article from 1939, the Mighty Midgets, which was the boxing team from St. Mary's School on the east side here, all listed there. And we can see that Joe Musin was an 86-pounder as a boxer. And if you slide down in that article, you just kind of pull it down there. The officials were referee Father Hippus, the announcer Chris LeMay, timekeeper Henry Vanderheiden, and the seconds were Casey Kolb and Dick Sagers back in 1939. There's Joe Musin, his graduating class picture from, I believe, 1944. And Joe, pretty much, when I looked in the yearbook, it pretty much just said he played basketball, freshman through senior year. But I did find that he was also part of the Howler staff in the back right corner there. There's a Walsh right next to him. There's Joe Musin.
Howler was
Student newspaper, school newspaper for the De Pere High School. So he was on that staff. And he was also very, very involved in basketball. Joe is on the far left first row, number 25. Right there, that's Joe. And on the far right side, we just lost this gentleman. If you slide way over to the right, keep going, right there. Just passed away relatively recently, Jim Keene, number 24. They were teammates on the basketball team. Next one. Now we move on to Bev. Bev had a twin sister, and they were both cheerleaders. Bev Anderson, who became Bev Musin, is the second from the left, and her twin sister, Barb, is on the far right. This was her junior year in high school. And this is the senior year. I believe Bev is the one down below, and her sister Barb is behind her. We had 4 cheerleaders. This was in her senior yearbook, and it was kind of telling what she wrote there. I wrote on my slate, I love you, Joe. He was destined to marry Joe Musin. Joe Musin in 1947 actually signed a professional contract to play baseball with the Green Bay Blue Jays, who were a semi-pro team. Very good baseball player. And this is the wedding announcement, 1948. They both worked for public service. I apologize for the picture. It was just the quality of the scan we took. This is an interesting thing about Joe Musin. He was a very good ball player. And in 1952, Oconto High School was opening their brand new gym. And the Minneapolis Lakers would travel around the region picking up ball games against local clubs. For the opening of the Oconto High School gym, the Minneapolis Lakers, who were the reigning NBA champions, George Mikan was the equivalent of Giannis today, right? They went up to Oconto and played this group of guys from northeastern Wisconsin, of which Joe Musin was one of them. So it'd be the equivalent of a local bunch of good basketball players taking on the Milwaukee Bucks up at a local high school. That's exactly what ended up happening. And Joe Musin, actually go backward, Joe, real quick to that, just so you can see some of the guys on the team there. On the far right, Romy Cosner was on the team, Don Johnson, some people might remember him, Joe Musin, and Kelly Danon from De Pere. Move ahead to the next one. We can see the outcome here. If we zoom in there, we can see that the Minneapolis Lakers wall up the lights, 88-52. They had 1,000 fans showed up for the game. Mikan played 2 quarters and then led all scorers with 18 points. Romy Cosner, ex-St. Norbert College great, was the lights pacemaker with 14, followed by Kelly Danon, Todd's dad, with 11. And Joe Musin scored 8 points in the ball game. Move ahead there. And that's it. All right.
You want to listen to Bert Parks?
Yes, we're ready.
Yeah, okay. Well, I hope I am.
Get out of all those.
McKim went through great pains to get this stuff put together and get the sound bites from the Miss America pageant of 1972. I just hope I don't mess it up.
Well, we all do. I'm sorry, did I say that? I forgot my mic was on. Oh, show that picture right there, Joe. Hang on, that picture right there.
Here?
No, the color one. Go down, there's that color one. That was my moment of glory. Those of you who remember The Wizard of Oz, I don't know if people realize this, but that orb that's up there, she actually, after the photo shot, it did float down to shoreline, and she chatted with us boys down there. My mother, God rest her soul, we were actually skipping out of church on this particular day, sitting underneath the bridge, and the Leiningers came to do a photo shoot. They wanted to get St. Norbert in the background, and the intention was to have Terry Ann there. And Vi Leininger's husband, after Vi was going to shoosh us out of there, Vi's husband said, no, let's take it with the kids in there. So I ended up taking a picture. I'm on the far right, Tom Poses in the leather coat in the middle, and Wayne Milkwood with the leather jacket on the left. And so it became the official De Pere postcard.
What were you smoking?
I was not a smoker. Anyway, you can get out of that. Now we can go on to the highlight of the show here.
Let's see.
Get out of that. There you go. God, I hope you find it, Joe. It's on the bottom. Just pull it down. There you go. You want to do the
Well, we'll do the.
that one first.
The prize.
You got it.
Oh, I gotta find the volume here. Wait a minute.
Yeah. We're gonna replay this because it's pretty cool. Up there. There you go. Now find your volume. Pull that. Drag that volume, Joe. The ball's right there.
One of these 6 lovely ladies is our new Miss America. Which one is she?
We know.
Our new Miss America, Pere and Mr. Her talent, as you remember, was singing "He Touched Me." Well, somebody really touched her tonight. There are the people of America waiting for you. And my great pleasure to sing you now your song, Welcome Her in Your Eyes.
One last piece here. And this will be in closing here. Joe indicated this is how she won.
Miss Wisconsin.
He touched me. He put his hand near mine and then he touched me. I felt a sudden tingle when he touched me.
thank you all very, very much for coming out tonight. We'll see you again in November. We can turn the house lights up. Hopefully she can turn the house lights up. There we go. Thank you.